to Common Use Spurs TV, where we are going to review a match against AS Roma. We had the match played at the Haifa Stadium in Israel, and Spurs ended up losing 0-1. A lot of people had made out that this match was going to be one of those spicy ones in the sense that we had Jose, and against Conte. Given the fact that the circumstances in which Jose left us, it didn't seem like something that we wanted to lose. But I don't know. Over the course of the match, we found that it just seemed we just couldn't get going somehow, and for some reason we had quite a lot of starts and stops. I've got with me tonight. I have Chuma. Chuma is on the Nigerian Sports TV, sorry, Nigerian Sports Forum, and also I have Ben. Ben, welcome to the program. Ben, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Beautiful. Chuma, welcome to the program as well. How are you?
Thank you.
And also have Folabi. Folabi is joining us from Lagos. Folabi, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm joining you from Abuja.
From Abuja. Sorry. You just
no
assume that
problem.
everyone who's in Nigeria is in Lagos. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so Fola is joining us from Abuja. Right. So what did you guys make of the game? Let's start with Chuma.
Yeah. What did I think of the game?
What did you make of the game?
I as a fitness kind of thing, I enjoyed it, but I saw deficiencies in the team that I think Conte is going to want to iron out. He started with Davinson Sanchez, and Sanchez couldn't underlap the ball. Jose Mourinho, to his credit, the gifted tactician that he is, the fact that he managed Spurs, I think he knew so much about the team and the players. There were certain things that he allowed and certain things he didn't allow happen in that game, and I think that was the main reason why Spurs didn't get going. He really studied the team. Kane and Son were blocked off. Kulusevski was contained. They allowed Davinson Sanchez underlap the ball, knowing very well that he couldn't do anything because he's not left-footed. And they allowed Højbjerg control the ball more, didn't allow Bissouma break lines more. He just did certain things that it's Jose Mourinho. So I think he took the game very seriously. Roma took the game very seriously. Spurs had a problem breaking them down. But yeah, for me, I think the second half was better, but we didn't create clear-cut chances. And that, I think, is the tail of the tape. We didn't create any clear-cut chances. I think we had a goal disallowed, or a couple of goals that should have gone in the penalty claim, stuff like that. But there were no clear-cut chances. Mourinho really tactically mastered that game, in my opinion.
Thanks for that. If you're joining us for the first time, this is Common Use Spurs TV. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to our channel, leave a comment, and share this channel with your family, friends, and colleagues. We're just reviewing the match against Roma, the last preseason match. We had 3 matches so far. I think is 3 matches? This is the 4th match actually. We had the match in Korea. We had Sevilla, and we had Rangers, and this is the 4th one. So, Folabi, what did you make of it?
Well, for me, it was, I think the two managers took the game in 2 different lights and perspective. And I agree with Chuma on many aspects of what he said. JM Jose took the match a lot more seriously to win. Conte, I think, took the match more. Nobody wants to lose, but I think he wanted to. He experimented more, let me say, and he wanted to know and get to see some of his players that he hadn't really seen fully before. Playing Sanchez on the left, I don't think we've ever played him on the left before. Basuma, I think, as Chuma said, I think this is his first real game out for us. and he made some silly errors and some silly mistakes, and did a lot of backward passing. And as Tuma said, yeah, he couldn't really break the lines, but I expect a lot more from him as the season goes on.
Yeah, I mean,
Son was
carry on, Folabi.
no, Son was just basically non-existent. They just marked Son out of the game, and there were them bringing on so many substitutions in the second half. Clearly showed Conte wanted some legs. He wanted to see some players more and make some final decisions. Some might be on fringe, some might even let go. But I think he wanted to really iron out and be convinced in his own mind his first team, first 11.
Yeah.
I think that was what more in his mind for today's game.
I know the consensus, at least from all the commentators in the background, was that, I mean, presumably it's like some sort of showcase for the first 11 again for the Southampton game, like some sort of a preview, if you like. Ben, what did you make of that? Ben, can you hear us?
I've got to agree with both. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
okay,
we can.
The picture's a bit funny, but I have to agree with Folabi. Yeah, I have to agree with Folabi and Chuma, almost entirely with what they said. But one thing we've got to realize as well is that, yeah, it was a showcase match for who's going to play against Southampton, but you can't play if you're injured. And I think one of their players had a bloody head. But I think what we're going to take out of that match is that all our players came out uninjured. Whether they made a case for starting, I think he's going to start with his strongest team, and it will be much the same as what we ended the season with. I think, with the possible introduction of Perisic, because he looked really good, and probably Moira at right back, because again, what's his name, Hurty or Hurty, whatever his name is. It didn't do it for me. I think it was more lively when we had Moira back there, So yeah, all in all, I think it was a good workout. We tried to test all the players, get them running, ready for the match on Saturday, but mindful of the fact we didn't want any injuries at all. And these guys were fighting for Jose because they were pissed off probably with the way we denied him the Conference Cup final. No, it wasn't Conference Cup, but the Carabao Cup final, and then they went on to win the conference final. So there was a lot more. I think probably one of our good commentators in our forum actually said so. He said that this was a match of Conte's life, but he actually meant it was a match of Jose's life, because he wanted to prove that he shouldn't have been sacked. And I think it's a non-issue. I think we're happier with Conte than we would have been with Mourinho. I just famously call him Mourinho because he wins a lot. So yeah.
I know. We like to call Mourinho on the Spurs group that we run. One of the things I mean, if Roma had a very, very bright start, I mean, it had Lloris come to rescue very, very early in the first half. I mean, I saw that. I thought, okay, it looks like things are going to be like really tough today. Mourinho has come out really, really fighting. But things kind of settled down, and I thought, I mean, we didn't create a lot of chances, but neither did Roma. And, well, I mean, if you look at the first few minutes, it seems, apart from the first few minutes, I mean, I guess when you had that chance in the initial minutes, I kind of I looked at Zaniolo. Now, for me, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know if you saw that match, and if that was meant to be like a showcase, or what you might call, what's that expression called? The when you sort of show off your bride, and you also say, "Look, I need to take this wife I'm not quite sure it was a good good premiere for him. I'm not sure. I mean, did I miss something?
That's true.
No, I don't think so because
I think it was
Zaniolo,
more
they want
Dybala.
to play him at 10, don't they?
Sorry, Ben. What did you say?
Sorry, go on. No, I was going to say that we wanted Zaniolo for as a 10, but he was playing in Son's place. So I don't know. I don't know whether he was a proper showcase for us to buy him. But maybe he's a versatile player. Maybe he can play all the way across the front. I don't know.
Yeah, I
But
couldn't quite make
it was
out what.
underwhelming to me. It was underwhelming. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
trying to figure
underwhelming
out
as far as I was concerned.
what it was about. I mean, I thought to myself, okay. I didn't see him well really make a great impact. I mean, I don't know, Chuma, what do you think?
He it's like Ben was saying. He played more left attacking, coming in. He had one. There was only one time he put a through ball in for Tammy Abraham,
Yeah.
and that's Davison Sanchez got the last ditch saving tackle for. But I think it was more a showcase for Dybala. Dybala was actually the one. Dybala and I think midfielder Pellegrini were the ones more or less pulling the strings for Roma than Zaniolo's. Yeah, you're right. It was not a very good showcase for him. Like, if you watch that game, you think, why would you want to spend 42 million
Yeah, I
pounds
mean, I
on
didn't see any for the
him?
2 million player in that guy. I think I said, I'm not sure. It's well, it's one match, but it didn't strike me as a 42 million pound player. I mean, anyway.
But then it's also the thing. I think the argument for the whole year, in fact, the argument ever since Mourinho arrived at Roma has been that there's a whole thing about how Mourinho picks one player and he picks on the guy, and the guy is always one of the most creative players that's kind of lazy. So the story around Zaniolo is Mourinho has never utilized him properly since he arrived, and the guy's stats have gone to pits since Mourinho arrived. So it's one of those things of maybe it's the how he's used. It's the Dele Ali argument, if you could call it that. But then we look at Dele Ali now and you think maybe Mourinho was right. So maybe Mourinho is right about Zaniolo as well. Maybe.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. I was making a few notes of the course of the match, and I saw Holberg. He made some really, really important passes today. You know, I mean, okay, he lost possession around the 13th minute, and but probably in a key area. But shortly after that, we had Doherty getting some very, very good positions. You know, even though it turned out to be offside in the end. What did you make of that, for Labi?
No, you mean for our goal?
No, he didn't score, but I mean, he got into a good position around the 13th minute, even though it turned out to be offside. But I think he pulled the ball back for Kane, I think. And
yes, he did. I mean, but the thing I have to say about that is he doesn't do it consistently enough. Once or twice in a game, or once or twice in 2-3 games, it's just not consistent enough to be able to rely on. Look, my belief is the starting central the midfield is not going to be over. It's going to be Bentancur.
Yes,
That's why
I agree.
I believe. I believe that's where Conte is going to go with. He's going to go with Bentancur. He's not going to go with Oberg. Oberg is a great bench player.
I mean, we'll come to the. I mean, what we might call this the potential starting 11 a little bit later. But if you look at the course of the match, I mean, what would you say was the basic highlight for you in that match, Ben? The main highlight. What would you say that was for you?
Yeah. Well, the main highlight for me, I mean, it was great. I mean, the fact that he was offside, okay, that sort of brought it down. But at least we were still firing. I love that combination between Kane and Son for that offside goal. For me, that was a highlight. But just to go back on what you were talking about earlier, I think for me, in the beginning of the match, Højbjerg just he made me put my hands on my head. He gave the ball away so many times.
No.
Maybe not so many times, but he gave the ball away, and I thought, pull him off, please. It was like for me, he reverted back to the Southampton player. He was, I think he's worried that we've got Bentancur and now we've got Bissouma, and he's probably going to get less time on the pitch. But I didn't rank his play. But I've got to say, this is probably what we've forgotten. It was damn hot out there. It was really hot. I mean, I think they had about 3 or 4 water breaks. So, and we all know what it's like playing in heat.
Yeah,
Sorry?
I mean that's like in the desert, remember? So I guess that was always going to be
I think the club.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chuma, you were saying, sorry. Chuma, you want to say something?
No, I said for me, I think I think the club missed the trick not playing the last game at home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, because I think there's always this thing when you play your last game at home in front of your crowd. You know, that would have probably pushed us on to victory. They would have probably taken it a bit more seriously. And then also, but then I then discovered yesterday I was out with friends, and then some other people came from Lady Gaga's concert at the stadium. So it's typical Daniel Levy, pounds over everything else. You know, cash rules everything around him.
Yeah, but don't forget that
Lady Gaga money is
he's got a business to run, you know, and we as Spurs fans, okay, I mean, if we don't do well, he gets the bait. I mean, he gets the flack, and if we do well, he doesn't get enough credit in my view. But I guess I'm probably in the minority when it comes to Daniel. I mean, I'm a big fan of his actually. I'm actually a big fan. I know that a lot of fans. A lot of fans give him plenty of stick, but if you think about it, we've had a £1 billion investment in that stadium. That is amazing. Given all of the difficulties we went through, he managed to sort of take us through all of that. And we just, I mean, okay, fine. We sort of missed out on Champions League towards the tail of it, but he's got a tough task to manage. I know that ideally, I mean, I guess this season we've had a real huge difference, and I think in the last couple of we had Santos in between, but the managers we've been getting now are like top flight managers. I mean, we're getting Conte, we're getting Mourinho, and we're getting a really fairly decent squad. I mean, I think he deserves a bit of credit. I don't know what you guys think.
I'm not trying to bury the man. I'm poking fun at him.
Falabi wants to say something. Sorry, Falabi.
Yeah, well, I think everybody knows my views on Daniel Levy. I'm a great fan of his. But before I talk about Daniel Levy, the highlight for me of today's game was Perisic. Period. You know, we've got an outstanding player there. We've got a runner there. You know, and that was my excitement for today's game. You know, and as Ben said, we've forgotten a big thing here. The heat and the humidity that those players played under. I mean, you could see the perspiration and the sweat. They were their shirts were as if, the commentator said it, as if they just jumped into the swimming pool with their shirts on, or just had a shower with their shirts on. You know, so for both teams, you've got to give them the players their due respect for that and their fitness level. You know, I think our fitness level is now beginning to tell and show. You know, and I read an interview that Conte gave yesterday when people were saying that the severity of the preseason training. He said, no, this is just natural for me. It's just normal. You know, it doesn't see it as any intensity at all. It's just normal. Now going to
you got to love Conte, haven't you?
You've got. No, I love Conte. Even before the moment they signed him, I opened a bottle of champagne and I drank it. Oh yeah.
And I bet you lit a cigar as well.
Now we are getting serious, and people will. In fact, a very good friend of mine, a Chelsea friend of mine, who was the former general manager of Transcorp Hilton here in Abuja. He's just been transferred. When we got Conte, first thing he said to me is, "You'll win the EPL within 2 seasons with this man. If Daniel Levy backs him, you will win it." This is how highly Chelsea fans rate Conte. They rate him so highly that the worst thing that he could have done was come to Spurs. Daniel Levy, you got to say, look, everybody says he should have put the money, the $1 billion pounds, into buying players, into this. You've got to understand, when he came in, we were a selling club. Anybody could come in and poach our best players. I always say one thing. It's not just about signing new players. It's also about being able to keep your best players. Being able to keep your best players for me, is as good as signing new players. I think Daniel Levy showed a lot of grit by being able to keep Kane last season. So they don't see us as a selling club anymore. People cannot just say, "Oh, we're going to buy that player from Spurs." No, not anymore. And the good thing is, yes, I'm glad that Conte had a full preseason with players that he wanted. We'll now see what happens. And as you said, Daniel Levy, when things go wrong, he gets all the stick. When things go right, he doesn't get enough credit. He just does not get enough credit. And I tip my hat off to Daniel Levy. I give him all due respect, the greatest respect.
Thanks for that, Falabi. Now, I totally agree with you on every level, because I saw Perisic today, and he had some really, really good long-range efforts. Even though they went wide, you could see what he was trying to do, And I thought to myself, we've got one hell of a player here. If you're joining us for the first time, this is Come On Ye Spurs TV. Come On Ye Spurs TV is designed to obviously talk everything about Spurs, from rumors to transfer news to preview of matches, and we also post match reports. We're reporting on a match against Roma today. Roma took place. So the match against Roma took place in Haifa in Israel, and Spurs ended up losing 2-1. But however, I thought
1-0.
Say that again.
1-0.
Sorry, we lost.
We lost.
I'm so sorry. We lost 1-0. And a lot of people are building as a Conte Mourinho grudge match. Given the fact that Mourinho left us in what you might call acrimonious circumstances, if you like. Well, not quite acrimonious, but it wasn't quite nice, because he was about to take us to the cup final, and that was for him an opportunity to win a trophy for us, and unfortunately he didn't get a chance to do that. I mean, that's possibly rankles with him a great deal. Now we're coming up to the
He was sacked. It was acrimonious. He was sacked.
Say that again.
Kicked out. It wasn't good enough. He was kicked out. It wasn't good enough. There's no point sugarcoating it. He was kicked out. It was totally acrimonious. It was.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So that's
I was sick of his football.
Yeah. I mean, we had okay, first half for me possibly.
Look, that defensive park the bus.
Say that again.
Sorry, I said that defensive park the bus was a disaster. A disaster.
You mean Mourinho being sacked on that one?
Mourinho.
Well,
Yeah, the other one.
He's bus parking.
No.
Yeah.
You see, the thing about that is that it's very, very difficult, however you cut it, for whoever was in that position. Now, if you think about it, this is surmising here. I'm not sure if this is the case, but if you think about it, here we have Mourinho. Okay, he wasn't really doing us great things, if you like. I mean that season, and if he had won that cup, we would not have had the end of it. We wouldn't have had the end of it. I'm not sure that Levi wanted that to happen, so he probably just thought, look, let me cut my losses and just move on from here. Because if he had won that cup, I'm pretty sure it would have been very, very difficult to sack Mourinho. And that would have that would have left Levi in a very, very difficult position. I don't know. That's just my view. But what do you think, Ben?
Well, I don't know about being difficult. I think they pulled the rug from under him because getting to the final to win a Tin Pot Cup, because really how can you get someone like Jose Mourinho and you win Carabao Cup? He was shouting at the players. He made the players just not want to play. So for me, I was quite pleased. I mean, winning that cup, by now we would have forgotten about it. And actually, I think other fans of other clubs would have taken the piss. It's better to have an empty cabinet than to win the freaking Carabao Cup under Jose Mourinho. To me, that's me. Because our football was atrocious.
There's raging debates on that point, if you like. I mean, some people would rather win a Tin Cup, as some people put it, or rather than the Carabao Cup. But hey, a trophy is a trophy, if you like. Yes, so, because we haven't won anything in a very long time.
Like the Champions League. Like the Champions League.
So it just sort of makes things.
Think about it. We're in the Champions League. Yeah.
If you're watching us from wherever you're watching, please leave your comments. Let us know where you're watching from, and we'll put your comment on, and we'll give you a shout out. So if you need to subscribe, click on the subscribe button at the bottom of your screen, right hand side of your screen, and if you need to get notified anytime we go live, you can also click on the bell button at the right hand side of your screen as well. Right. Moving on very quickly. So we have the next match against Southampton. Now, it's a difficult one on many levels. For me, I would probably start with the team that started today. I mean, as in the starting lineup we had today. Now, let me just see if I can find out the starting lineup. I mean, what do you think, Chuma?
So for me, I was going to say the second half, the two players who came on that I really felt their impact were Bentancur and Longley. Longley playing as left centre back was way better than Sanchez. He progressed the ball very, very well, got into very good positions. Even when Sessegnon came on, Sessegnon's cross was as a result of Longley breaking the lines and underlapping. So I would play a left-sided. I'll probably bring Davies back, and I'll play Bentancur with. I wouldn't drop Højbjerg.
That's interesting.
That's the thing. I watched the game and I found out that Bissouma is supposed to be playing what Bentancur. I wouldn't drop Højbjerg, not because I think he's a very great player or anything else, but he was the only one trying to make forward passes from midfield. Bissouma wasn't doing that. He was trying to. He didn't succeed all the time, but he managed to. For whatever reason, I think he's very, very tentative when he plays for Spurs. I've watched him play for Denmark, and he's so free to do one-touch, two-touch passes. But when he's at Spurs, it's like he forgets who he is, or he just gets very nervous and starts trying too much, and he causes turnover. He turns over possession a lot. But him and Bentancur, I think Bentancur calms him down for whatever reason. Bentancur and Højbjerg play very well together, and you could see that in the second half when Bentancur came on. So I would keep the same team. I wouldn't play Doherty at right wing back. I would play somebody else. I could play Lucas, or I would play, maybe even Spence. If Spence can convince enough to start that game against Southampton, I'll play but not Doherty and not Emerson for me. I wouldn't play either of them at right. But Bentancur, Højbjerg, and then the same thing, Kulusevski, everyone. Kulusevski was the one who created the chance for Kane's goal that was disallowed. Because Kulusevski had one piece of freedom he had.
He got in some really good positions when he came on. In the second half. Ben, what would be your own team? Would you keep the same team, or would you make changes? Or if you make changes, what changes would those be? Or what would those changes be?
Now, who would ever who would ever argue with Chuma, with Ola Chuma? Who would argue with him? No, no, no. Seriously, seriously. No, I mirror exactly what Chuma is saying. He's right. Bentancur wasn't on the pitch in the beginning, and I think that's why Højbjerg was a bit. He was hanging onto the ball so long. I thought to myself, does he think he's Bentancur? Why does he hold onto the ball? And then people were closing him down, and there were lots of turnovers. So I think, yeah, Bentancur and Højbjerg in the middle. On the right, I loved Mara on the right wing back. I loved him there. I don't want to see that donkey Emerson until he goes to school and learns how to cross, because he doesn't know how to cross. And as for Doherty, his injury has messed him up. He's got to take another 12 games to get back to where he was before. So I won't play him there. But
Yeah.
on the left hand side, it's one from either Sessegnon or Perisic. But I think why we need to is because they're supposed to run up and down the pitch, so they probably can only get half a match under their belt when they're playing. So yeah, but as for the front three, there's no choice there. We know we want up the top. So yeah, that's a team I'll choose. It's much the same as what Chuma chose. Got to admit.
Now for me, I mean, today it just sort of underlies one of the really, really good things about this young man, Romero. Romero for me is an absolute beast. You know,
He was brilliant.
He's an absolute beast. I don't know what you guys think. You know, he just sort of he gets into fantastic positions, times his tackles to near perfection, and he's aggressive. You know, and he just gives attackers something to think about. So, you know, anytime you go against him, you think you are in trouble. You know, I love Mr. Romero. You know, he's such a fantastic player for me. You know, yeah. What do you guys think?
Well,
Yeah.
on this one, I actually disagree with Chuma. I will play Bentancur and Basuma.
You want Bentancur and Bissouma rather than Højbjerg?
Yeah, I think Basuma and Bentancur, you'll find that Basuma will go forward a lot more. I mean, I've watched Basuma quite a bit.
I can see that.
I'm saying it.
I can see that. I can see that. Yes.
Basuma
I can agree with
go forward a lot more. Basuma will go forward a lot more. Basuma is a very intelligent player. He's got a bit of a hot head, like Romero, but I think the guy breaks. He will break lines. He will break lines. We've got to remember, this is his first real full game, you know. And Chuma, you know, I've always been saying this and advocating this since day one when Conte came. Lucas as right wing back. You have always been saying no. So I was quite surprised that now you were even saying maybe play Lucas there. For me, that's the one. Lucas.
I just don't want Emerson and Doherty.
I don't. Yeah. Well, we're
I don't think no one does.
You know, and then on the left, there's just no two ways about it. You got Perisic, that he's a starter. He's a starter. You know, so are you playing Davis? You know, either way, whatever you're doing, you're going to play a left footer there as your left back.
Yes.
And then I think Dyer is improved immensely. Romero coming in, his positioning is a lot better, and he's getting calmer. So I think the game on Saturday against Southampton, to be truthful with you, I actually think the team actually picks itself. The front three, there's just no arguments about it. You know, the front three pick themselves for certain. Our keeper picks himself. You know, Bentancur, you know, Conte is definitely going to start him. Then Romero definitely picks himself. You know, Perisic will definitely pick himself. So, and you've got another thing. Let's not forget, as well as he played today, he's just coming back from injury and recovery from injury. So
Yeah.
you can imagine when that guy is fully fit, and that guy's got a lot of energy and a lot of stamina, and he's got a motor on him as well. He can sprint. I mean, there was once, I don't know if anybody remembers it, where he did a kind of dribble and he was brought down and he just turned around and smiled because he knew he had outfoxed his opponent there.
Dibia.
So
Dybala. It was Dybala.
That's right. I actually thought that when Session came on in the second half, even though he only had a little bit of a cameo towards the end, but he got in some good positions and he put in some good crosses. I think, like you said, fed from Langley. Langley was really good in my view.
Langley brought that ball for
Yeah,
Langley brought that ball for.
He sort of did a really good job.
Played Langley before Davis. I played Langley before, but can you imagine Langley and Perisic together?
Absolutely. So I mean that means that I mean let's just sort of have a quick look at see what the first team will look like on next week. I mean, if you have a look at I mean, like we said, I mean, we probably, some people would say that you would want to sort of leave out maybe Bissouma or maybe Højbjerg. I mean, I would possibly want Bissouma and Bentancur, in that middle of the park, and possibly have Langley rather than Sanchez, as the
sure.
Starting.
Keep Sanchez away.
Well, I was I was watching. I watched
Sanchez.
Southampton. Right. Go ahead, sorry.
Okay. So you'd have what? Oh, I didn't hear that.
Sorry, Ben was speaking. Sorry,
Ben, what did you say?
No. Actually, I was just talking about Langley. Yeah, basically what you guys are talking about as well. I think that Sanchez should be sat on the bench and only come on if someone's injured, because he's a defender. He can't. We saw what happened when Davis got attuned with Conte and what Conte drilled into him, and so we always found Davis up there amongst the midfield and strikers. But Sanchez, I mean, every time he's just a defender. He gets the ball and he hardly goes forward. And whenever they pass the ball back to him, I'm always, my hands on my head, like, I hope he gets the ball. I hope he gets the ball. Because as a famous internet influencer once said, his name is Expressions. He said the guy is like PlayStation. He's like a PlayStation on standby mode. He just loses it. He just loses it for a few minutes, and then play just goes on around him, and then we end up with sticking the ball in the back of the net. So Sanchez he's had a long time. You think about it, he's had a long time with Spurs, but yet
he's just never.
I don't fancy Sanchez at all. So.
This is his fourth season, if I'm correct, or is it his fifth?
Who? Sanchez?
Maybe longer.
Yes.
No, this is his third season, I think.
This is for you're right.
No, he came in 18.
2018 season.
He played under Pochettino.
It's his fourth.
Yeah.
It's his fourth if you count.
So,
you're right. 2018-19.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, so he's almost like a senior player already, isn't he?
Yeah, supposed to be.
Yeah, he's just never. But I was watching. I watched Southampton's last two preseason matches, and the Nigerian player Aribo.
Yeah.
He's going to be a bit of a handful. I predict he's going to be a bit of a handful. I think Conte will be watching the games. He's a bit of a maverick. You don't know what he's going to do next. and he's playing on the right side. So I think that's why you need somebody who is going to be very serious, not Sanchez on that side, because that's where Joe Aribo plays, and it's tricky. He can shift the ball one foot to the other, use his left, use his right, but he plays on the right side. So you need a left center back and a left wing back that are in sync. So hence the reason I vote Sanchez out, Sanchez on the bench for me.
Beautiful. So let's sort of
I'll
do.
leave you the car park.
Let's sort of to sort of close, if you like. I know it's been a really, really lovely preseason for us. Overall, I think we've had good time in Korea. We've done Rangers, and then now finally we had disappointing result in the sense of result, but it's all for a good workout for us in the long run. But ultimately, if we had a good, if we sort of did what you might call on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the preseason so far? Let's start with you, Ben.
Who's first? Preseason is what it is supposed to be. So it's supposed to be there to get the players fit, help the manager make up his mind on who fits one role or the other. So I would, based on today's outing, I think the heat and everything else contributed to the way we lost. But hey, if we scored the goal, if the goal had been allowed and we got the penalty, we won't be talking about any losses. We would have drawn and won. Okay, it wasn't as good as Arsenal, who flogged Seville 5-0, and most people are saying that they've spent all their goals and they lose everything when they get to the EPL. But I would score it 9 out of 10. To be fair.
Oh, great stuff. Okay, Falabi, what would you say?
Well, preseason, I'm actually going to score us 10 out of 10 for 3 reasons. One, we got in the players early. We started buying early.
Beautiful.
So that helped a lot. 2, we've done a lot of fitness training. And we've been playing in severe weather. In weather that they're not used to. And our players have been able to be lasting the full 90 minutes. And 3, most importantly, we're coming back with no injuries. Just a couple of cold shower baths, a couple of light training, light warm-up and relax the muscles and everything. They come back today from Israel. They have a day off tomorrow. By Tuesday, they go out for full steam training again, fitness training, working on technical stuff, working on set pieces. We've got a week to go. So I think we've had a very, very good preseason.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, Falabi. Chuma.
I would concur with the guys and go 9.5 out of 10, just because I just wouldn't give it a 10. It was worth every penny seeing those players throwing up in Korea, because for me, I've always felt that if you die in training, the match is so much easier. And watching them drill those boys that way, you can see the fitness. It's there in front of you. You can see the pictures of Harry Kane last preseason when he missed that and came back a bit overweight. He's in fighting fit form. Son is in fighting fit form. And every player, I think, during this preseason tours had their shine. Kulusevski had games where he was, in the Rangers game, he was twisting his guy inside out. Son has had great games. Kane has had good games. Players in the midfield have had good games as well. The defenders as well, Romero, Dyer. So the core are already ready. They know what they have to do. All they need to do is just go over the patterns again and again. And I think, like Falabi said as well, we've played in extreme conditions and we played away from home. I think winning at home is not a huge problem for Spurs. Winning away has always been something that our mentality has never really adjusted to. So when you go away like this on tours, I think it builds up your away day mentality, and they've come out of it unscathed. And yeah, So I think I'll give it like a 9.5 out of 10, almost 10 out of 10. It's a very good thing. And Conte preseason is all we've ever needed. If we can play as well as we did last season with no preseason with this man, I can only imagine what will happen now. So looking forward to the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of the things we've had in the preseason so far, I mean, give us indication that the next season is going to be really, really good. And having a good workout over the last few weeks in Korea and back to Europe, I mean, it's just been absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing, guys. I can't thank you guys enough for joining us today. With us, we had Chuma. Chuma, obviously, is a resident guru. We had Ben calling from stateside. He's out there in New Jersey, New York, axis, and I've got Falabi all the way from Abuja in Nigeria, and I'm here in Hertfordshire in the UK, and of course Chuma, I think, is based in London. So thank you all for joining us. If you join us for the first time, like I said, subscribe, share this, and leave your comments. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you next week. And next week is the start of the new season. Let me just say this. We will try as much as possible to have pre-comments, pre-match previews, and much more coming up in this season. And we're very, very excited, like everyone else is. Come on, you Spurs. Thank you so much.
Yeah, come on, you Spurs.
Yes, sir.
Come on, you Spurs.
Pleasure.
Come on, you Spurs.
Pleasure.
Ben, how's you're in New Jersey, right?